folks, here we are in the listening room doing a little wrap up on the old Klipsch upgrade. Before I get into it though, there's one thing I want to hit, one question I want to answer that I've been getting like 30 or 40 times. Can you send your speakers to us and we just do the whole upgrade for you? No, I'm trying not to be in that business. If all we did was speaker upgrades where I did all the labor and all the assembly work, that would be all that I do all day, every day. And that's not what I do. I do design work and engineering work, and you know, I've got products coming in here from other companies. I've got our own models we're working on, and I've got orders that have to go in and out every day, and trucks coming in and shipments going out, and an entire business to run. I do this in the evening for fun. I like doing the design work. I like measuring and testing speakers, and this is just something we do constantly, but this is my fun I do at the end of the day. It's not my job to do the assembly work, and I'm trying to present this to you guys in a way that you can do it, and most of you can. This is beginner level upgrade. It's easier even than some of our kits, and I know you guys can do it. So don't be scared that you are going to screw something up. Don't worry. You can go to our forum at Audio Circle, and there's a ton of people there that are going to give you support and help you through the upgrade. If you get stuck, you can always call me. We'll walk you through it. You'll be able to get it done. So no worries there. Now, wrapping up this last part, listening impressions. I know everybody wants to know, well, how do they sound? How do they sound now? Well, I'm going to give you some listening impressions. I don't know if you're going to really love my impressions or hate my impressions. I am not a reviewer. I am a designer. I am a very critical listener. There are specific things I listen for in the design aspects of the speaker, and comparing that to the measurements and back and forth and doing the things that are intangible to the speaker in order to bring things to another level. So I work at a little different level design-wise than the Klipsch speaker. The Klipsch speaker is a budget level speaker. That's not where I focus a lot of our efforts here. I mean, I've designed budget level products for companies, but my bar is pretty high. It's like if you're a reviewer for cars, and there's a lot of guys out there that have been reviewing these speakers, so I'm going to give you a car analogy. The rest of these guys that have been reviewing these speakers are like a car reviewer that reviews subcompact cars, and they're going to get in the car and they're going to drive it around the neighborhood, and they're going to tell you how it rides and how the interior looks and give you that kind of feedback. I'm not going to give you that kind of feedback. What we've got here is a racetrack out back, and we're going to take these out there and we're going to ream the you-know-what out of them, and we're going to tell you how it performs. That's what we do. And everything in here that I have system-wise is at race car level. That's what we do. We design the fastest cars in the world here. So I'm going to cut. I'm going to get behind the camera, and I'm going to give you a little walkthrough of the listening room and just show you guys what's in here right now. What are we working on? What do we listen to? Where our bar is, where it's set, so that you understand when I tell you how something sounds, you'll know where I'm coming from. I'm not going to say something to put something down. I'm going to be completely honest and truthful with you guys. I'm going to give you the good, I'm going to give you the bad, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm hearing as me, a designer who's listening for specific things that the normal listener isn't going to listen for when they have these speakers. They're going to have them set up closer to the wall. They're on a budget system. The things that I'm going to hear or not hear aren't going to be capable of being reproduced on a normal system. So I need you guys to keep that in mind. So let's go take a look at what's in here so you know where I'm coming from. Okay, we're going to start over here with this little pair of speakers. This is the Exotica. It is a full open baffle design. Uses a planar magnetic tweeter, loaded into a waveguide. It's all in an open baffle. The drivers were designed via cost no object parameters, all copper coated motor structure, copper shorting rings. The whole speaker, top to bottom, was designed from an engineering standpoint with performance in mind, not aesthetics. It was completely designed to take you, the listener, to another level. And these are incredible speakers. We sell them as a kit. Ron Bernay, reviewer at New Record Day, owns a set. He uses them as his reference. Over here on the other side of the room, we have the Big Brother. These are the In Extremes. It's the same speaker, but it uses 8 low frequency drivers covering the bottom end. So extremely dynamic, a lot of fun to listen to, super transparent, super detailed. Right next to those here we got the Line Forces. These are about to get shipped out this weekend. We've had them in here for a little while, really giving them a good listen. That's probably one of the better sounding speakers in the world right now. Full open baffle, all planar magnetic, all best parts. We're talking, foil inductors, copper foil caps, tube connectors, high-end wire, and then the bottom is covered by 12-inch servo-controlled woofers. It's an impressive speaker. Down here on the floor, we're getting down to the smaller speakers now. Here's the Super Mini. This is a mini monitor version of that big Line Force. You can see the crossover outboard again. Sonic caps, MyFlex copper bypass caps on the tweeter circuit. Really high-end stuff. These typically set on a base, and when I say the base is what the Klipsch speaker is currently setting on. These are 8-inch servo-controlled woofers that are in the sides of this. It's an open baffle speaker. So the whole thing's open baffle. As you can see, woofers in the back, and that covers down to about 50 hertz. Below that, we've got 12-inch servo-controlled woofers in the big towers behind it here that are covering the bottom end. And those play flat to 20 hertz. The system is kind of a one-off custom system. Everything in it was custom built and designed. The only thing available are probably the interconnects that are from Reality Cables that Greg Straley makes, which are really, really good. The whole system is running off the grid. It's running on the big 100 amp hour AGM batteries. Everything except the amplifiers for the servo controlled woofers. Those are all plugged into a Uber bus for power conditioning. That's the only thing on AC. Everything else, including the Mac Mini, is off the grid. It's highly modified. The DAC is a one-off DAC. Off the grid, tube preamp. Off the grid, we got some little tube monoblocks there, 30-watt monoblocks off the grid. And these little chip amps I'm using, these are all off the grid. So, dead quiet system. It allows me to hear pretty much everything. Here's the back of the woofer cabinet. Those babies will hit, and they will not load the room. They're extremely quiet. So that's what's going on in here for system. One other speaker I'll mention, the studio monitors. This is a cost no object design. It uses our NQ driver. It uses the planar magnetic tweeter and a waveguide, and these are open to the top, which means the top is grill cloth, so the tweeter's in an open air application, so a lot of the air and spatial cues are really maintained with these things. I mean, you can hear soundstage layering and things out of these that you can't get from a normal two-way box speaker. It's kind of semi-open baffle. So that's kind of where we are listening wise. And then here are the Klipsch. We set these up on the bases. I have the bases turned off, so we're not adding additional low frequency, and just giving them a good listen. So with all of this in mind, how do they sound? Hopefully you got an idea now of where I'm coming from. When I set this stuff up and listen, these things are 8 feet out into the room. I'm doing everything I can to create a sound stage to make sure that there's nothing holding the speaker back. I've got the best of everything in front of them and everything powering them. So I'm getting to hear what the capabilities really are. We're airing these things out. So what did I hear? What did I like? What did I dislike? Surprisingly, there was a lot of things that were really, really good. The tweeter actually really opened up when we put the sonic cap on it, and the Mills resistors and the good wiring and the tube connectors. Man, that just opened up the clarity a lot. The strike of the note is really clear. Like the hit of a cymbal, the touch of a guitar, all the little intricacies are maintained really well. What I'm missing that I'm used to is the air and space around those things. The inner detail, you hear the strike of a cymbal, but it's more of the cymbal was reproduced. It was like you heard the recording of it and it sounded pretty good, but it wasn't like there was a real cymbal in the room. It wasn't anywhere near the level that I'm used to with some of these planar magnetic devices or things like that. There wasn't a cymbal radiating within the room that felt like, wow, it was right back there. No, it came from the speaker. So it's a little more here I am type of a sound because the tweeter is in the horn and it still draws its attention to you a little bit. I'm getting good imaging between the two speakers as far as placement within the sound stage, but they're not deep within the sound stage. They are separated from the speaker left to right, but not so much in depth. But the quality of the sound of the tweeter is really good. I'm just missing the decay off of the trailing edges of those notes that are at another level that you're just not going to reproduce with a budget speaker. But overall, I'd have to say really good, really, really good as far as the upper ranges. The mid-range and the bass, now that the box is tightened up, when I listen to music from Jennifer Warren's like Way Down Deep, that drum hit really lights up a speaker. If there's resonance there, it usually really excites it and draws attention to it. And I didn't get that in these. The bass was not boomy. There was no added resonance there. It was clean, but not detailed. I'm missing that resolution in the bass that I'm real accustomed to hearing, and I'm not really getting that out of them. Just due to the woofer itself. Kind of the same thing with the vocals. The vocals, I would say if you're comparing these to a bunch of other budget speakers, you would probably think vocals are pretty good. They do a reasonable job, but compared to what I'm used to, I can tell what's missing right away. It's like when you're used to something being in a certain way and a certain level of openness, and then all that's gone, you notice it right away. I'm used to when the female vocal starts to sing and she opens her mouth and her lips go, and you hear her lips separate and her breath, and you feel like you can reach out and touch her breath because she's so real, and you get goosebumps from the sound of the vocals. Just, oh man, you know. No, you're not there with these. It's a good representation, it's a good recording, it sounds pretty clean, but not like some of this stuff I just walked around the room and showed you. But if you compare it to other budget level speakers, you may find that it's still pretty good. So I would say for the money, still really good. And the reason I chose this again to walk you through an upgrade of these things, because this is what we do all the time, I chose these because it was a really good speaker that really shined with the little upgrades. It was just asking for some things to be done to it, some improvements, because it was a really good base level across the board. There wasn't a lot to have to fix in these. There's a lot of speakers that come through here and they're a disaster. They're just thrown together. You'd be amazed at how bad a lot of these budget level speakers can really be. And these are really good. So all you guys out there in the Klipsch forums and who are wondering why I did this, it wasn't to put down Klipsch in any way. It's just to show what can be done and to reach out to the hobbyist market, who's one of the markets that I cater to, and show them how simple this can really be. And upgrades can be really simple. And this was a fun one. It was an easy one. It was a really inexpensive upgrade. So it's one I think you guys can have fun with. And I know I've heard kind of through the grapevine, a lot of these guys over in the Klipsch forum, they're kind of still thinking, who is this guy? And who is he to just show up and do these upgrades and think that he's, you know, he's all this or that? I understand a lot of people in the industry really don't know what I do, because a lot of what I do is behind the scenes, but companies come to me all the time for me to do upgrades on their product lines or help me design their product lines. And I've designed products that have won almost every award in the industry, from Audiophiles Class A recommendation to the Absolute Sounds Golden Ear Award and Editor's Choice Awards and the Blue Moons Awards and Speaker of the Year Award, Product of the Year Award, Budget Speaker of the Year Award. You know, I've kind of covered the gamut. I've been doing this for a long time. So it's what I do. So don't think that I'm just some guy that's picking on one company or another company. That's just not it. But I can understand this was kind of a different set of feedback coming from someone like me who designs products that are here, and this is a budget level product. And I've even had these same issues with manufacturers. I had a company one time send me their loudspeaker product line, and I went through and designed new crossovers for everything and improved their product line. And then they flew in, one guy flew in from Seattle, another guy flew in from Atlanta, and they landed at DFW, rented a car, and came up, and they were sitting and listening to the speakers that I had done the crossover work for, and were floored. They said, wow, these are incredible, but we don't know if you just did such a great job, or we've just never heard our speakers on a system at this level. At the time I had about an $80,000 system playing their $1,500 speakers and $700 speakers, and they said, we just have no way to reference here or compare what you've done, because we've never heard a system at this level before, let alone the performance that we're hearing. It's just, they were floored. So they said to me, do you have any budget level gear we can hook up so we can see how they sound on gear that's in our price levels? And I had to say, no, I don't. I use this level of gear for a reason, and it's so that I can hear the things that I need to hear when I'm doing this design work. And so they understand it's tools of the trade, but they red labeled in some of their own gear and hooked it up to listen to it to see what it sounded like on normal price point electronics, and they loved it. And I did their whole product line. But I understand what I just set this stuff up on and listened to is not the level of performance or level of gear that they're going to be played with. So when you play it with a home theater receiver and things like that, you're probably going to really like the results. It's going to be a fun speaker that you'll enjoy, and it's going to be a fun upgrade. So hopefully I'm not too disparaging by my feedback, because my bar is a little higher. Don't let that discourage you. These still came out really good. So if you want, order the upgrade. We'll help you through it. Further listening impressions, I've got an approval to send this pair from here to Ron over at New Record Day. And big coincidence, he was sent a pair of these to review before I started this. And I had no idea that he had a pair. And I sent him the information for the next Tuesday Tech Talk, which included this, and he couldn't believe it because he just got a pair in. So he has a stock pair. We're sending him this pair, and he'll be able to set up and do comparisons and possibly set up his Earthworks mics, his dual microphones, and record some really good quality recordings and let you hear the before and after, which will be a lot of fun. And I love doing comparisons. Comparisons is where you really learn, and it's just a lot of fun. So that stuff's coming up. So Ron will be posting some of that feedback for you on a little better level to where you can make good A/B comparisons. And that's it for now. That's a wrap. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little series. Thanks for viewing. I know the viewership went way up on this series. Thank you. Thank you for sitting through the commercials. I appreciate all the comments and feedback, and we're going to start something new next week.